An interesting sociological theory to help understand and explain social and cultural phenomenon is practice theory, or praxeology. Practice theory looks at the relationship between individual human actions and the social world in which the actions take place. Practice theory is a way of analyzing how individuals or agents interact with the objective and normative structures around them. For example, the action of talking to an attractive stranger on the street is not simply a matter of making a rational choice, because you may be inhibited by cultural norms or social rules, which we call social structure. However, if you were at an event, then chatting to an attractive stranger would feel more appropriate. But why is this the case? Practice theory offers a more contingent perspective of the world instead of relying on an analysis of intentional individual action to explain social phenomenon. While there is no unified or coherent practice theory, as there are many forms, for example, by Pierre Bourdieu, Anthony Giddens, Michel Foucault, or Theodore Schatzky, there is agreement on certain principles. Practice theory firstly emphasizes that everyday actions of individuals, we call practices, makes up the social structures recursively. For example, the less racial and gender discrimination that individuals act out in society, the less susceptible racial or gender discrimination becomes, and vice versa. We say this relationship is recursive or two-way because if racial and gender discrimination becomes widely acceptable and is gradually adopted as an unwritten rule or norm, this in turn influences individuals to act discriminatively. Therefore, practices can reinforce existing norms or create new potentials for expansive action that deviates from dominant social norms, creating dissensus and transformative change within social structures. Examples of transformative action are civil rights or independence movements, or simply public discourse that drives changing attitudes to how we think about everyday topics such as love, marriage, class, religion, sexuality, or body image. Furthermore, practice theory holds a skeptical view towards dualisms and attempts to map out the dynamic relationships to integrate concepts that have previously been partitioned as polar concepts. Examples include conceptual dichotomies such as objective and subjective, determinism and freedom, the individual and society, structure and agency, and conditioning and creativity. Hence, there is a recognition of the relationality of these processes of mutual constitution, which stresses that phenomena always exist in relation to each other, meaning there is ongoing constitutive relationship between social order and human action. This breaks from the structuralism or structural anthropology of Claude Lévi-Strauss and existentialism of Jean-Paul Sartre. This means people absorb the world around them and from a variety of experiences different for different individuals. The consequences of the actions that they take or avoid, which we call individual agency, maintains or alters the social structures of the world, which in turn influences others and themselves. Therefore, individuals have uneven capacities and motivations to act, which can depend on differential power relations and access to resources.